Sometimes that is better.
We're doing Tremors, guys. We're doing it. Woo-hoo! A hot diggity dog. I tell you what. I don't know how to talk like an old-timey prospect from the town of Perfection, but I done got my grab boards in a bunch.
As long as it's not your hemorrhoids in a bunch.
Nope, only my grab boards.
Go on
They
the
done
grab
took
board.
your job.
Took her G. You guys have got way too much energy right now.
Yep, we're
Tremors!
gonna need everyone to step
But it's
it up.
Tremors. How can
but
you not
also,
have all the energy?
I need everyone to be really quiet. That way we
Oh,
don't
shh.
get eaten.
Oh, yes.
I don't want to get ate.
I'm in my basement, so I have...
You're in a terrible spot.
Yeah, it's kind of bad, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's not as reinforced as Mr. Gummer's.
Charlie might be in a good spot because he's got that axe behind him.
Oh,
That's just
Tremors
what's
axe.
that's just what's visible on the camera.
Right.
Yeah.
Charlie is our Bert, but with melee weapons.
I believe that. Yeah, I like.
Yeah,
That's a
yeah.
great descriptor. Yeah.
I got some ranged ones too. Don't worry, it's all good.
Do you have like just an axe head that you can shoot at someone, much like a?
Are you wanting like a crossbow that shoots axes?
Yeah, I do.
That sounds pretty cool. I bet
If-
Charlie could make that.
If Charlie hasn't made one already,
He should.
he should.
Make a
Just
TikTok about it.
Make like a little axe thrower. Like I can make miniature axes, and it's just little axe thrower that flips.
Yeah, and then like on the back of it, like where the handle is, I want it to be like a beard that reminds me of Gimli's beard.
right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sculpted
Much-
with, you know,
So
fine-
we're asking Charlie to make a live action Shogun Warrior here, right? So
Basically.
yeah.
with a fist that shoots and an axe that throws. Yeah.
we don't have much demands for him usually.
No,
not at all.
no,
Get
Not
on it.
at all.
Get on it. Chop
I
chop
sit
toots.
around doing nothing. Apparently, I sit around in my office watching Delta Force, waiting for the next episode of Give Me Back.
Wait,
My
All right,
Blood.
so
waiting for
all right,
Pete
we're
to
starting
join.
this episode way earlier than typically, and I was like, "Well, we'll just do 4:00." And then Pete was late, despite we're trying to get this done early for Pete.
Ugh.
And I was like, "Well, Charlie can work with any time possible because all Charlie does is sit in his shop watching Delta Force making wood."
You're self-employed. You got all
Yeah.
the time in the world, right?
Yeah,
You can
Yeah.
work anytime you want.
that's my perception of
self-employed.
Charlie. And then when Delta Force is over after the third time, he puts in Delta Force 2.
I hope my
Sure.
wife doesn't listen to this because she's also self-employed and she will bitch slap the hell out of me.
Well, speaking of self-employed, at least I know what it's like to be Earl and
Valentine.
Valentine in Tremors, because they too are self-employed.
Indeed.
Those
doing
guys are happy to get
random
15
jobs.
bucks.
They are.
How much you
Every
get paid for
random
this
job.
again? $50. That's
15,
$47
was it?
more than what we have.
Oh, was it that
Right.
much? Okay, I thought it was
I-
15.
well, he got paid 15 for the
graboid.
tentacle.
Yeah.
Yeah, the graboid.
And
But
they had
got-
to, barter for that. They had to wheel and deal to get that
Right.
15.
Well, I mean, that's how it works whenever you're dealing with Egg from
With Egg,
Big
right.
Trouble in Little
He's a tough negotiator.
That's it, man. That's it. Oh my God. Yeah. Okay. So Tremors.
Tremors.
Yeah, Just get it straight to the trailer, and then boom, we'll get into this.
Oh, cool. That gives me a chance to slam this energy drink.
Perfection. A scorched outpost in the middle of nowhere.
You know how close I am to leaving this place right now? How close?
Maybe that's why Val and Earl decided to leave town.
Hey, hold up. That's Edgar Dean's.
They just picked the wrong day to do it.
Jeez. You guys better get the hell out of here. There's a killer on the loose. Who could be doing it?
Is that a snake?
I'll give you boys $5 for this. 20.
That's how they get you. They're under the ground. What the hell are those things? How could they eat a whole station wagon?
But where do they come from?
I vote for outer space.
No way these are local boys.
You see, they're headed right for us.
No Richter scale can measure it.
They're coming!
No scientist can explain it.
Bert, they're under the ground.
You didn't get penetration even with the elephant gun.
Run, run!
And no one knows what to call it.
Megaworms or suckers or suckoids.
Now, this valley is just one long smorgasbord.
Now, it's up to Val and Earl to save the world.
That's one big mother.
Who died and made you Einstein?
And they know just what to do. Flip for it.
Damn.
Kevin Bacon, Fred Ward, Tremors.
Oh man, Michael Gross didn't even get a mention there. Ouch, dude. He's kept
What
this
a-
franchise alive for what, 8 sequels and a TV show?
Yeah,
Something like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
around there.
sad.
Not to mention Family Ties. So I mean, come on, man.
He was fresh off of Family Ties, wasn't he, for this?
Yeah.
Something like that? Yeah.
Pretty close to it. I don't know. Family Ties might have been off for.
I know it was a
year or
big
two.
deal for, him to play a complete opposit character than that.
Oh,
in
totally
this.
a hippie in Family Ties, and he's a right-wing conservative,
Gun-toting,
gun-toting,
survivalist.
survivalist. Well, I would say he's probably more of a libertarian than a conservative.
Yeah,
Uh,
I'd say
and then,
I would
yeah,
go
yeah. And then
libertarian.
you
Yeah,
got
yeah,
Reba
yeah.
McEntire definitely going against her character as well.
Mhm.
You know,
It was wonderful. I love Burt Gummer is clearly the star. Well, he's not the star, but he's the face of the franchise as this goes forward.
it's because he steals the scenes. You
He
know,
steals all
he's
the
guy
scenes,
that
and Kevin Bacon got too expensive to continue on in this franchise, and it just breaks my heart that the TV show he was trying to get off the ground with Kevin
yeah, the
Bacon
one that's
in it.
recently.
Well, no, there is a TV show that's
Well, there was one that Sci-Fi made with Burt, and then
yeah,
within
that was
the
still
last
around.
like 5 years at least, Kevin Bacon was trying to get a TV show
and it
made.
never got
and
filmed.
the
or-
pilot didn't get picked up.
Right, and that just breaks my heart, and I think
Yeah.
it breaks Kevin Bacon's heart too, because if from everything I've read, he just loved this movie. He had so much fun making this movie because it was so ridiculous and something he's never done before. It makes me so happy that somebody of that star caliber loves some dumbass monster movie from the 90s so much that helped him kick off his career.
And what's funny is he hated the movie at first.
Did he really?
Yeah. Charlie and I were discussing it.
Oh,
off
I
air,
missed that part. I
that
thought he
at first he blamed Tremors for like thinking that this was going to be the career ender of all things. Like,
no way.
he was in a rut, and why am
read
I
wrong
doing a
then.
movie about giant worms in the ground? This will be the death of me.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
so
Oh,
my
yeah.
information is wrong.
No,
Clearly,
he has
I've
come
been
back
drinking.
around to it.
Oh, okay.
Your information is correct. There was just
period.
1991 Kevin Bacon was not a fan
Oh,
of Tremors after it came
And
out.
he's
How could you
because he
not have-
dropped out of the sequel is why
Right.
it went direct to video, and it got shelved for
Oh.
like 2 years
yeah.
before it came out.
Man, I don't know how you couldn't have a blast making this first film. This has everything in it. It's got sexy gals, it's got monsters, it's got great deaths.
It's got
This-
emotional characters to
This
cling on
is
to.
this is everything I want in a movie, always, all the time. I can't gush about this movie more.
So there was a reason why I picked this movie, but I want to
Because it's
hear
awesome?
Charlie's thoughts first on when he was introduced to Tremors, and then we'll go to Pete and then me.
You're okay, fine. I'll hold it in.
It's just Pete's bubbling tonight, man.
Well, after torturing him with Cube and Cyborg Cop, I had to throw him a win.
right.
You're my
I-
best friend now, Nate. Thank you.
I enjoyed the hell out of those two movies.
I don't know what he had against Cyborg Cop specifically.
Oh,
I don't know.
Over on our
Heavens.
YouTube channel, the Tubi Files that officially launched,
That
and you
movie.
can hear Charlie and I glow about a certain cyborg cop,
Yep.
even though there wasn't technically a cop that was a cyborg in the movie.
That's pretty much my point.
Listen at him. And please don't let these two's exuberance make it think like I am not a huge fan of Tremors. I am.
You're
And
you're awful
You're just
chill
being
tonight.
quiet over there, needing your energy drink to kick
I
in.
need my energy drink to kick in. No, I own every Tremors movie. I have
Yes.
watched every Tremor, anything to do with it.
I've only seen 1 through 3, and then the TV show.
Oh,
You've
my
seen the
God.
entire TV show?
When it was airing, I haven't seen it
Okay,
since then.
I've like watched the first 2. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
So
It might have been only
no,
2
you're fine.
episodes that aired, for all I know.
Right.
But so yeah, I have lived and breathed Tremors. It's funny. So we picked this movie. Nate picked this movie, I should say.
Thank you, Nate.
And it kind of spawned what we're doing this month. So this
Yeah.
was Nate's first creature feature. And next horror episode is my first creature feature. So while Tremors may seem like what the perfect entry point into these a little bit more grosser, a little bit more horror-esque type monster movies, this one wasn't my first, but I want to say it was like my second or third into the genre. Because this was only PG-13.
Sure.
But there's still quite a bit of violence in this movie.
It's PG-13 light. It's not.
No, it's PG-13 hard. There's
Is
a
it?
lot of
Yeah,
blood.
I mean, there's a lot of gore.
There's one F word, and
They
there's
dropped
no.
two. They dropped two.
Yeah,
F
They dropped
words.
2. Oh, I
Yep,
missed this.
they got away with it. There was more, but then they ADR'd over
Yeah.
it. Mother
Yeah.
humpers.
Mother humpers.
That's right.
Can you fly, mother humper? Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, I'm watching it again last night going, yeah, this is pretty violent and pretty grotesque. When Walter gets eaten,
That's
is
so
still
good.
pretty wild to watch. And the brains laying out in the hard hat at the rock part where the quarry, the guys got stripped across the road.
Yeah.
So picture, you're letting your like 13-year-old kid watch this movie. Fun fact, about the time Anthony did watch these, and then he proceeded to watch every other Tremors, which is why I own them all,
It's a
because
smart
it was
kid.
just
I like that.
just
kid.
like I want to watch. It was every night, and I watched all of them except for Back to Perfection. I refuse to watch that movie again.
It's not bad.
I refuse to
it's
watch
kind of
it
fun.
again.
The idea of it just did not sit well with me. I was like, I'm not even going to bother watching this. And then as they kept going on, after 3, I was like, I'm kind of done.
They might as well have made it G-rated. I'm like, I just no. And I came right back into 5, and I've loved it all the way through. The Arctic, the paradise and the snow tremors, and then they go to the island.
We covered that over on Good Beer Bad Movie.
I know. I was a big fan of that one with you, and no one else seemed to be.
No one else was. I was like, this is great.
No, it was gold, man. Especially when they started adding like Jamie Kennedy,
right,
as Burt Gummer's son, and all this.
Oh, he's bad. He's so bad.
He's so bad, but I still love him in this.
Yeah.
But yeah, Tremors has been a big one for me, man. Always tried to rent this movie every chance I got, and because I didn't like it on TV. Like it started playing on TV a lot, and it's cut even worse. And I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna go rent this movie. I think until the point my parents probably bought it for me on VHS, because it's like he's already spent enough to buy one.
It's cheaper to buy you the film, right?
At least your parents were smart enough to do that. Mine were not.
Yeah. But no, I was really excited that you picked Tremors. It was high time, for as long as we've been doing this, to get into a good proper creature feature. I was thinking back, like we've done, like Deadly Spawn, but that's kind of alien creature. Then we did Cellar Dweller, and that's more monster,
comic book creature. It's like a demon.
So we had
Gate. They're minions.
Yeah. So we hadn't really done just this creature, of unknown origin. So I was like, yeah, this sounds fun. And, the next one we do for me is Deep Star 6. So really diving hard into this creature feature month. So that's me. I'll shut up now because I've been talking the whole episode.
No, you're good. Now, Pete, what is your earliest memory?
Oh, I'm next.
Tremors?
I'm next.
Yeah.
I thought I was last. Anyway,
No,
so
I go last. My pick.
love this movie. I have the recent Arrow release
Gorgeous
with
artwork.
artwork done by Matt Frank, who is an amazing Godzilla artist.
On sale right now at
comes
Arrow's website.
With the perfection stuff and an internal worm.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You got to post pictures of this.
And I'll post pictures of all this. So it comes with the
classic poster.
Yep. But it also comes with the giant artwork as well that Matt Frank did. It's astounding. This amazing book that is full of all this stuff. There are 2 commentary tracks on the first disc, and there's a second disc with a whole bunch of other shit on it. It's amazing. Everyone needs to go buy this, and if you are at a convention where Matt Frank is, he will sign it for free.
Oh, awesome.
Well, there we are.
Movie, I saw this in the theater, and it made me, as a kaiju fan, as a monster movie fan, this brought so much joy to my soul that it holds a place in my heart that few movies have. And it might be the last great practical monster film ever. And I only say this because I want to see what else is out there. I just can't think in my brain pan what has come out since Tremors that is practical, that is better. There's been a whole bunch of garbage out there, but this movie is really very special. It is 100. This movie is 100% practical effects. The sequels are not.
No, they're not.
But this movie is a masterpiece. I love it so much. I cannot gush about it more. I need to stop, or I will just keep circling back on the same things.
Part 2 is probably the next closest.
Yeah, there's a lot of
effect.
2 is great. 2, I really like 2. They get the ass blasters in there, and you do mix a little bit of CG.
Ass blasters are part 3.
Oh,
ass blasters part 3.
Oh,
that's when they started adding CG.
Okay.
So part 2 was you still got the mini graboids with the heat vision,
which I don't remember what they were called. They had a name for them.
I don't remember.
Yeah, they have a name for all of them.
I think the only thing on that was a bit of like stop motion, even maybe some animation for making them move. Yeah,
right.
But for the most part, it's still remote control cars and worms under dirt,
puppets, and a beach ball under a blanket.
And it does a good job of what a sequel should do. Of like, well, you already know how to defeat the current monster, so we have to give a different evolution towards it. Which, that heat sensor and then being faster above ground, like it added a new challenge.
It increases the mythology of the whole creature without revealing like where the exact origins of it. And that's part of the thing I really like about it, is that the origin of it is there's nothing on record about it. Why isn't there a record about it? Are they alien? Are they Terran? Are they what are they? I don't know. No one does. And it's just so wonderful. I did see a documentary years ago about this franchise, and until recently, until like 7 and or 8, they've stuck to like 90% practical effects. Like there's a film late in the franchise, I don't remember which one it was, where Burt Gummer actually gets swallowed by a graboid. That's all practical. It's nothing as CG. There is a puppet that engulfs the man, Michael
Gross.
Thank you.
Yep.
And he's inside this giant flipping puppet. It's amazing. It's just so wonderful. And
that's
I think
the one just before the Arctic.
That sounds right. That'd be like 6 or 7, something like that.
Because he has the psychic connection while they're in the Arctic.
That's right. Yes, he gets some. Yeah, he gets some superpowers.
Oh, we can't spoil this for Nate. Nate needs to watch the rest of the trip.
Nate, watch all the movies. Nate, you can get all the movies from the library for free.
So you remember in Jack Frost 2?
Yeah.
Oh God!
It's
Jack
like
Frost
that.
2 was fantastic.
Yeah, but remember the whole thing where the guy
where
could
he's in the Caribbean.
Yeah,
but the guy could see what Jack Frost is doing.
Yeah. That's
it's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So if that made it better with
I don't know if it does or not.
So that's
I like my
history with
memories of Tremors being good.
Oh, I still love. I've already watched the new ones. I don't know, 2 or 3 times each.
I haven't seen it past the Arctic one. I don't know if there are any past that, but anyway, that's my history with Tremors. It is near and dear to my heart. This is what a creature feature should be.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's funny
Nate,
because we have ask me, please.
Yeah.
Hey Nate,
Nate, what's your first?
What is your
thank
impression?
you. Oh man, guys,
let's hand it
so
off.
glad you asked. So we've done movies that hold, pretty dear to my heart. Evil Dead 2, Dead Alive, just off the top of my head. Dream Warriors recently even.
Mm-hmm.
But Tremors is probably the first movie I actually remember watching. So much so that my mom and dad rented this all the time for me. There was 3 movies from my childhood that captivated me that I would just watch constantly. It was Tremors.
Yeah.
It was Darkman.
Oh.
And it was Big Trouble in Little China.
Dude, you're right in the Hyde Country. Those are some bangers.
Here's what's crazy. This Tremors, this is 4-year-old Nate watching this all the time. We had a local video store in the town next to us, South Charleston. That's where my grandparents lived. Okay. And we would go in that one, and I would that poster I loved. And I'm fairly certain I watched it with Grandpa first. But it was just constantly renting that movie for me. Same with Darkman. We had a rip on VHS of Big Trouble. Mm-hmm. So mom and dad didn't have to rent that one. I don't know why they never bought me either one. And I still need to get a VHS copy of Tremors. I've got one of Darkman and Big Trouble. Oh. But those 3 movies are I hold so dear to my heart. And I remember when Tremors 2 was airing on HBO, I specifically stayed the night at my Nana's house. That way I could watch Tremors 2's premiere on HBO.
Nice.
That's how huge. And that way we could record it. And also I had nightmares that night because it scared the hell out of me. Tremors 1 I had so much fun with, and I thought Tremors 2 was terrifying.
Wow. Well, there's a lot more jump scare in Tremors 2.
And the creatures being above ground, they're a little bit more vicious, if I remember correctly. It's been a while since I've seen 2, but I remember that one being much more scarier.
Well, yeah, where they pinned them into the warehouse, and they're all at the windows. You had the one that they had captured, and it gets free.
Yeah,
there's a lot more to that one, and they did.
It's a dark sequel. It is.
Okay. I liked that one. That's the one thing they kind of don't do in the first Tremors, except for one scene, is there's quite a bit of nighttime happening in part 2.
Yeah, definitely.
And there's really only the one attack, which is the doctor, when they suck the station wagon into the dirt for the first movie.
That's such a good scene.
Was that night.
Yeah.
Oh, I love this is going to be the hardest kill of the week I think we've had in a long time.
Definitely, because everything's so memorable. But there's something about this movie that just has always glued me in. And even when I got COVID, 2 years ago or whenever it was at this point,
about 2.
That first night, it was just me going, well, I haven't watched Tremors in a while, and I'm going to revisit my childhood. I'm going to watch Tremors again. I hate being a person that's oh, when I was a kid, I was above watching Lion King. Or it's no, I watched all those Disney movies and stuff. I was a kid. Mm-hmm. But because there wasn't much of a filter at my house, and I think my parents' philosophy was well, if it keeps him quiet, I'm already a naturally quiet kid, but it keeps him, entertained. There's no harm in it. And I remember, learning how to use the tracking on the VHS to be able to get it to work, because I would wake up, 6:30 in the morning or whatever. I'd naturally wake up early. Sleeping in just wasn't allowed at my house. So it was put in the VHS tape, and, I had my Ninja Turtles and stuff and Big Trouble, but God, Tremors, there's just something about this movie. You can't say, at that young of an age, that's where you found your love for cinema or anything like that.
No.
But
you're not
definitely
wrong.
movies became my hobby, and like as I got into my teenage years, that's when I realized that movies could be so much more and what they like mean. But this was really a snapshot into my childhood and how
That's
much I
wonderful.
adore
God,
stuff
you've painted
like
a
this.
beautiful picture. I love this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It just means a lot. It really does. And that's why I wanted to do Tremors, because I'm like, man, I don't ever really get a chance to kind of open up a bit on like stuff that means a lot to me. And like, I wanted this episode to be the one.
This sounds like we're holding him back, Pete.
I-
Jesus, listen
I-
at him.
No, it's just
Not that
usually
we
like
didn't,
I don't like gush much. I kind of just like.
But you are.
I like
And
it, but yeah,
you're-
this one like
you're sharing this with us, and it makes me very happy that you're opening up to us. Like
and that's
this.
what
This
I
is
wanted.
wonderful.
I was like, I need to let that barrier down sometimes
yeah.
of like the love for cinema, and especially because like I have such early memories with this. It's just like, nah, this has to be the one, and now just feels like the proper time to finally cover Tremors.
Oh yeah.
The great thing is, as an adult watching, you're like, holy shit, this movie is bloody as hell, and like the practical
and it holds
effects,
up.
it holds up so well, and the puppeteering.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is because of Nick Benson, who did the practical effects on the Blob remake, did the practical effects on this.
There's a whole nother subject about remakes that were equal to or greater than the originals. Let's not talk about that now, but the Blob is certainly on that list.
Well, we covered the Blob, so yeah, we
right.
definitely have. We've touched on those things for sure.
The Blob and the Fly and the thing. So right,
I
Nate,
think
I had my 8-year-old nephew watch Tremors, and he was infatuated. He just thought everything was cool because you could see. I praise practical effects all the time on this podcast and Good Beer Bad Movie Night as well, because it's something to react to. It's something in your face, in camera. It's happening in front of you, and people get to act towards that rather than a ball in the sky. So he was able to see that there was actually movement. It wasn't CG that was running under those floorboards. It wasn't CG that burst up through the earth, which was a puppet, but it don't matter. It was forced perspective, and it was wonderful.
Yeah, like it's fun seeing it now. You're like, oh, I can tell that's a puppet shot,
but
they do it so well.
Yeah, he genuinely had these experiences where I don't think he was actually afraid at any point, but surprise and awe might be a better way to say it.
And talk about like there's certain movies that are perfect for an introduction to horror. Now, as a kid, I didn't realize this was a love letter to B-rated monster movies. I didn't know that. I just thought it was its own thing. I also didn't realize it, the comedy to it as a kid. It's a scary movie. But this is an excellent introduction, and so is Gremlins for the same exact reasons.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah,
you're right. You're right.
Like I loved Gizmo as a kid. I'm surprised I don't have a tattoo of Gizmo yet.
They
at this point.
Both these movies have that really tough razor edge balance of, yeah, we can tell a joke here and there, but we're not waka waka. We're not telling a joke. We're just being
like,
funny.
We can put one in a blender and make it all bloody, same thing with this, or like, well, it's orange blood, or it's these little
and that's still horrible. That's still horror, man. That's it's something got blended in front of your eyeballs. Like,
well, there's parts even when they're the tentacles are really the focus inside the grocery store when they run them up to the roof.
Yep.
There's an entire sequence there that feels like Gremlins. It bites into the tomato sauce. It bites into the can of vegetables. It's not trying to be funny, but they're just doing these little subtle movements, and I swear it's an homage. That right there, just that little scene was just this homage to Gremlins of just these tentacles. It's like, what can we have them like get into right now? It doesn't have to be scary,
right?
But the people are still trying to run away from it. So
you know what's great too? Like, this movie has Victor Wong in it.
Oh yes.
I remember going to the theaters to see Three Ninjas. I was like 4. All right, but I remember seeing that
okay.
and being blown away.
No judgment here. You can see whatever.
Being blown away that the clerk that got eaten by a graboid was in Three Ninjas.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and you're also watching Big Trouble in Little China, so you're watching Egg
Victor
run
Wong's in
around.
that.
Yeah,
and do all this
exactly.
stuff.
It was just, that's that early age of putting together, like, people can be in different things,
God. What
Yeah.
do you think that if Kevin Bacon had been in Big Trouble in Little China, would he been as good as Kurt Russell?
No, Kurt Russell is the best at being Kurt Russell.
I'm not saying they made a bad casting there, but I'm curious. Like, boy, Kevin Bacon's pretty good.
Kevin's hair's not
Kurt
mullet
Russell's pretty
enough.
good.
Yeah, Kevin's good in this movie. Honestly,
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
He's good. And those blue eyes. Oh,
yeah.
And that hair.
Whew, goodness gracious! I'm getting verklempt.
It's getting warm in here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so it's like this is kind of like my Kevin Bacon movie because I didn't really see him in much when I was growing up. You know, I didn't watch
Footloose.
I was going to say the movie we shall not mention, but I've never seen Footloose.
One day, guys. Don't worry, everyone. One day.
It's going to happen.
I've not seen like Quicksilver. I wasn't watching horror movies yet, so I had never actually seen him in Friday the 13th.
Oh, sure. Okay.
So
or Invisible Man.
Well, Invisible Man was after.
Yeah.
Or Hollow Man.
I'm sorry, Hollow Man.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Which actually, I enjoy that movie. I
remember liking it as a kid, like early teens, but I haven't watched it in forever.
There's topics in that movie that I do not enjoy anymore.
Yeah,
but the premise and I love the ending. That whole ending thing of them fighting.
I'll have to go back and watch it because I
think it'd be interesting to rewatch.
Well, it's a Paul Verhoeven movie, so I feel like I would still enjoy it as an adult.
Right.
As long as
I do remember there were certain scenes though, even back then, going, "That's not right,"
But I think that it was
only.
He does it the one time. Well, we're not talking about Hollow Man, but anyway, this was pretty much my introduction to Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, I was not watching Flatliners at age 4.
I saw Flatliners. That was a great film.
I didn't watch that till well after this when I was deep diving into horror / sci-fi movies. I don't know if I'd call Flatliners a horror movie.
It's a movie
sci-fi.
For horror fans,
Yeah.
That's like a Jacob's Ladder. Like, is that really a horror movie? Man, I don't know. It's
Jacob's Ladder. I would still clarify as horror because there's some pretty horrific things.
But Flatliners was scary in places. Anyway, we're not talking
in
about
places, but we were talking about Kevin Bacon, and there's a reason it's 6 degrees to Kevin Bacon. That's the joke. It's like he's been in almost
it's not a joke. It's amazing. Like all the people he has touched throughout his career is just insurmountable. It's
like in Hollow Man.
Right.
But anyway.
Ew. Well done.
We should not laugh at that.
Thank you. I know, but I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it. It was right there, man.
Charlie.
I'm sorry. I'll go back to being quiet.
That was a couple of degrees for me to process.
that damn energy drink.
What about Animal House, though?
That joke was brought to you by Fast Twitch by Gatorade.
Well, I didn't see Animal House till I was 18. I think.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
Same. I didn't.
I was late in life to see that and a bunch of those other late 70s, early 80s sexcapade.
The
films,
first one I remember
Meatballs
watching
like
Meatballs. Yeah,
Meatballs.
Yeah,
I remember vaguely Meatballs. I remember my dad showing me Porky's and then being like, "Oh, I probably shouldn't show you this." I remember that one.
It was there's a lot of sex in Porky's, but there's not a lot of nudity, which was there's nudity for sure.
There's a lot of nudity in Porky's.
There's a shower scene. I don't think there's not a lot of sexy nudity.
Yeah.
Anyway,
what's that got to do with Tremors again?
Nothing.
Well, it's just
Kevin Bacon.
The stuff that our parents will show
Kevin
us.
Bacon was in Porky's, right? No.
No. He was in Animal House, which is a frat comedy, just like Porky's. There, we're all straight now. Now back to the Graboids.
There we go. Back to the Graboids. Sounds like a commercial break.
Well done,
yes.
Nate. Yeah,
we'll be back with Graboids.
More Graboids.
I mean, the combination of Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward is such a good duo because you truly do believe these two are friends.
Best
and like them playing rock, paper, scissors
They
to
are
like
BFFs, yeah.
get out of scenarios is
Yes.
perfect. I mean, this whole cast gives you
Yes, I was just
people
gonna
to
go
hold
there.
on
Yeah.
to.
Yeah, the entire cast is. It feels like they've been living in that area for so very long, and they know
Mel, the
everybody
teenager that gets on
because there's only
everyone's nerves.
14 of them or whatever.
Yeah.
And they just know everyone, and they're all in the same situation, and
it's a small town.
It's the smallest of towns.
Being the age I was when I watched this too, there was a familiarity to it as well. I knew who Fred Ward was more than I knew like Kevin Bacon, because I had grown up watching movies like Remo Williams. You know, it's very kind of.
Oh yeah,
they
was
were
a good one.
Fun action movies. They were not anything that Dad had to worry about, like what's in this movie. You know, it was a lot more. You know, kind of like the movie Peter Weller was in, like Buckaroo Banzai, stuff like that. You know, that weren't like hard R, action movies. So I was able to watch a lot of those.
It bummed me out when he passed away last year. It was like,
Peter Weller died last year?
Fred Ward.
No, Fred Ward.
Oh, Fred Ward. Jesus
Fred
Christ.
Ward died. But the familiarity was, I knew who Michael Gross was because I grew up watching Family Ties.
We all did, yeah.
I knew the Melvin because he was the older brother on Wonder Years.
Yes.
That's why he looks so familiar. I was trying to
that son
pinpoint
of
it
a
last
bitch,
night.
He is so good at his craft. I hate that son of a bitch in everything he's ever been in.
He's your Joffrey.
Oh my God. Yes. Yes, he's Joffrey. Yes.
And then even last night, Jackie was
Draco.
like, "Oh, the little girl. That's the girl from Jurassic Park."
No,
and
no, it's not. I don't think it is.
Are
you
it
sure?
Is.
Yep, it is.
Okay, I thought. Okay.
Mindy is the girl from the first and second Jurassic Park.
I thought it was,
movies.
and I thought I looked it up. So clearly, I did not.
Looked it up. Jackie made me.
All right.
She had to be right.
Jackie's keeping you honest. I like Jackie. I like Jackie a lot. She doesn't like me at all, but that's okay.
Well, it's
okay.
just if you picked better movies in February, you probably wouldn't
Eat
have
a bag of dicks, Nate.
Wow, you might as well just told Jackie to go eat a bag of dicks with that
No,
comment.
I'm not telling you because you picked a couple of stinkers here recently. Anyway, please continue, Charlie. I'm so sorry.
I'm done.
He's like, I've made my point, guys.
Yep, I was there. You guys carried it on a lot further than it needed to be. I was
things-
going for the familiarity of this movie,
which sounds like family as well, which is what he watched it with.
Right?
Yeah. Come on now.
Yeah, my mom is not a fan of Tremors. I'll just put that out
Aw.
there now.
What is your mom's? I think my mom would like this movie, just because
God.
it's. What is it?
You know what, guys?
Oh, what?
I think this sets up perfectly. We're gonna call my mom and just see what she thinks of Tremors.
Oh, really?
Yeah, let's do this.
Oh, so my mom likes a lot of movies, while Nate does this. So my mom does like a lot of movies, and some of those movies that she likes are movies that I like. Like Tremors is something that I think she would thoroughly enjoy because there are cute boys
I'm
in
gonna
it.
laugh if his mom sends him to voicemail.
I could be dead in a ditch.
You gotta play the pity
Do
card.
you not call your mom enough that she wouldn't just pick up?
No, not at all.
Oh, Nate.
No, she'll
Call
call
your
me like 3
mom.
times in a row and I won't pick up.
Nate,
This is a
call your
very,
mom.
back
Pick
and
up.
forth.
Nate. It's your mom.
She's probably at work.
Please leave your message.
No.
We'll try again later.
We'll try again later.
So Charlie, what? So your mom? Why did your mom not like this? Just curious.
My mom is the quintessential mom from the 80s and 90s. That movie's gross. That movie's not appropriate to be watching. There's a reason my dad waited so long to introduce me to R-rated movies.
All right.
My mom is a Sunday morning go to church woman.
But this isn't like satanic.
But it's gross. That's the thing. I feel like that's what my mom's gonna say.
Yeah.
Be like, why did you like that gross movie so much as a kid?
I wasn't allowed to have slime in the house. I wasn't allowed ooey gooey things. My mom hates snakes. So tentacled creatures.
This just feels right for what you're talking about. That time frame of mom. This all makes sense to me.
This was the mom that was just like, ooh, gross. No, You know, it's not like Jackie is with the kids where it's like, yeah, let's watch Freddy versus Jason tonight. Or let's watch Lake Placid. And so it's
there's another great one.
There's
talk about a
Jackie,
creature feature.
Yeah. And honestly, if it wasn't for that there is some CG in that movie, that would be one I would toss up to be.
It's
now
way
there's a
up
lot
there.
of practical. There's a lot of practical in that movie.
Regardless of the CG,
Yeah.
that's way up there.
It is.
Anyway,
but
we're talking
yeah,
about
so
Tremors.
yeah, this was definitely one that when Dad would be like, "I'm going to let him watch this movie," and she'd be like, "Really? Why?" That's
I can
pretty
hear the
much.
tone of really as well.
Yeah. I'd be excited, be like, "Mom, I got to watch Tremors." She's like, "Oh, really?"
That
just-
Midwestern mom tone. We all know it really
Oh
well.
God, man, and it's
Oh, did you now?
Yeah. Did you?
Don't.
Yeah. Your father let you watch. She never
Ooh.
called him your father till that happened.
These are cutting so hard right now.
Yeah,
Nate's
that
got a
hurts.
little PTSD right
Yeah.
there. See, mine wasn't Midwestern. Mine was Southern. So, it's Southern mom, Southern Baptist mom for a long time.
I didn't
too,
have to
so-
deal with that. Thank
Yeah.
God.
So,
I'd be a dead man.
I was not allowed metal music till I was well into my teens. I didn't see nudity. Certain television programs that even if it was cut out of, I wasn't allowed to watch on television. So,
So, but your parents had seen those in advance, so they had already taken in the glorious.
yeah. Well, Dad at least had watched.
Okay. So Dad told Mom that, hey, there's boobies in this, and Mom said no boobies for my boy.
So
then there's the occasional movie they would forget. Like for mine, it was Police Academy.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, there is nudity in this. Like close your eyes, boy.
Oops.
How often you forget that movie's rated R?
All the time, because I think every sequel was PG-13 or PG.
Every sequel after was PG or PG.
Because that's when PG-13 came out.
Yeah.
Those were never those were never your Porkies or your meatballs like we were just talking about. Your
Part
head of the
one's
class.
close.
Yeah.
Part one's kind of close.
Yeah.
though.
Okay.
The
rest
others they tamed
they were
it down a
definitely-
lot.
They definitely pulled back on that. Yep.
Yeah, they were trying to be National Lampoons than not being National Lampoons. But yeah, no. So I'll paint a picture. My parents had two chairs. My mom had a rocking chair. Dad had a recliner. TV's front facing. 90% of the time, my mom's either sewing or was reading a book, and she would get engrossed in a book. Dad would watch a movie, and unbeknownst to us, Mom was also paying attention to what was in that movie, and is why when Charlie would go, "Can I watch the movie Dad rented last night?" And if Mom heard me, she'd be like, "No." And Dad's like, "Why? There wasn't nothing in it." And Mom would then like pull him aside and tell him what she saw in it. He'd be like, "All right, yeah, we might have to wait on that one a little bit." And I'm just
look here, Charlie Senior. Here are the reasons that I'm not going to let Charlie Junior.
I had to learn to not ask when Mom was in the room. That's
you
smart.
learned that pretty quick, I bet.
yeah. If I caught Dad, you'd be like, "Oh hell yeah, let's go watch it right now." Mom would come in and be like, "What are you doing?" And watching this movie. Why? And Dad would see a part that he would be like, "Oh yeah,
Oops.
probably should."
Oh, I got here's my story about my first cinema boobs. So my dad and I went to go see Back to School with Rodney Dangerfield.
Love that movie.
PG-13, right? Dad's
Yeah.
like, let's go see this PG-13, and I'm like 12 or something like that. Maybe I was 13. I don't know. It don't matter. But as a PG-13 film, Dad had very low standards. It's like, it's fine. It's not R. So we go in there, and there's one scene with one topless gal in a shower or something like that. It's a gratuitous, unnecessary shot as I look back on it as an adult. But there they are. Pop was not expecting that in the movie theater. And as we go home, Dad looks at me like, "Hey, did you see those boobs in in the movie?" It's like, "Yeah, I did." It's like, "They're pretty good, weren't they?" Like, "Yeah, they were pretty good, I guess." I don't know. I'm 13. I'm still trying to
I'm
figure
still
all that
figuring
out.
this all out.
I'm still figuring it all out. But I think that was my dad's way of diffusing
drive home.
No.
Well-
The whole like, oh, the naked body is a bad thing. I think that's his way of like, this is not a bad thing. It's just a thing. It's
a tad twofold thing. And this is back to our era of growing up. That moment of, my son just saw boobs. Let's see if he has the right reaction. That's as we grow up. The era we grew up in.
Oh, okay.
It was a checks and balances kind of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
What'd you think of them boobs? And you're like, yeah, I like.
They were boobs. There they were.
Yeah, they were good.
I wasn't expecting that.
As long as you didn't go, ew. He was like, all right, we're okay right now.
I don't think anybody looks at boobs and goes, ew, regardless of what side of the field you're
Very
playing
true.
on.
Yeah.
I think you got a good point on that. But I'm just saying, it was a different time for our parents, and I remember those conversations of like, that's an odd question to ask me. But now as a dad, I'm going, I understand why he asked me those questions.
And why I don't care if what were my reactions.
Right, now it's totally different, but
right.
It was a different time. It was a different
come to think of it, I feel like my parents still ask these kind of questions because it's still not out of the bag for me. So who knows?
Nate, I support anyone that you date.
That's right.
And I hope to meet them and enjoy them as you do.
You know what? Thank you, whoever they may end up being.
I'm just going to say, as long as we keep it as they, them, not it's. That's it. So it has to breathe.
Well, I don't want to date Pennywise, so we're good.
Yeah, so
I wouldn't be able to bring them around Charlie.
Well, right, exactly.
I want
Charlie
to
would never forgive you for dating Pennywise.
Yeah.
No clowns. No clowns. All right, I think it's time for us to take a quick commercial.
A little bit. Then we get back to perfection.
We have been talking a long time about.
Yes.
Oh yes. So let's do a little break.
It's been a habit lately with you guys. I don't know what it is.
Don't go away.
All right.
It
No.
would be a grave mistake.
Do you like horror movies?
Do you like hanging out with your friends?
Do you like having a laugh?
Do you like podcasts?
Well, you should check out our podcast, Spoils of Horror.
We're not a review show.
We're a horror movie hangout where we talk about movies that are lost, forgotten, popular, and bizarre, all in the scary realm.
You can listen to our podcast while you're doing just about anything.
You could be washing your dishes.
You could be washing your cat.
You could be washing your genitals. All forms of genitals accepted.
We are a fully inclusive genitalia show.
Yes, we are the #1 ideal podcast for washing your genitals.
Our genital Yelp reviews are unsurpassed.
5.5 stars.
You don't want to know where that half came from.
Now that you know that, check us out on all major platforms.
You can search for Spoils of Horror on all social media sites.
Come and hang out with us. We'd love to see you.
And your genitals.
Bye.
It is the age of the monster machine. The biggest, the baddest, the meanest climbing beast known to man. There's just no stopping it. The ultimate climbing machine. The 16-wheel monster machine from Tony.
Don't let the commercials bug you. We're back.
All right. So one of the things that I was noticing when watching this again through the lens of an adult podcaster, the most professional of movie watchers we know.
Nerd.
How much this movie... Yeah, I'm a nerd, all right. I'm a big old dork.
Yeah, kind of.
How much this movie plays into the noise that's happening before the reveal of the graboids.
Oh, okay.
Showing the jackhammer, showing the pogo stick. Just
that
you're
jackhammer
so
scene.
aware of everything that's about to happen, and it puts a really good emphasis on how loud we are just naturally. And one of the movies that did an amazing job of that in recent memory was Quiet Place.
Yeah.
Now,
Yeah.
I didn't get to see Tremors in theater. I still have not. I would love to, but I know it'd be a rowdy
Wouldn't
crowd.
that be so much fun to see it like Jaws?
A midnight release or something.
If this isn't a Jaws knockoff, I don't know what is.
Yeah. A Quiet Place was one of the like top 5 theater experiences for me because everyone was so damn quiet in that movie.
Oh, was it? Oh, that's
in that theater that I got to see it. There was like you could cut the tension.
So the whole audience was like quiet.
Everyone was glued in,
quiet.
and like when you heard someone like taking just a bite of popcorn, it felt like it was thunder because of how deadly silent it was. And it was just like, this is incredible. This movie has pulled off like the impossible. Now, part 2, while still a good movie, my audience sucked. Everyone was talking, laughing. I was ready to murder everyone because I was so hyped going into that. Like, I'm going to get that same experience, that intensity with it. And they robbed me of it, and I was I was so pissed off at that. I was like, I'll never go to the movies again at that theater. Screw that place. It was like almost my reaction.
Oh man, that's
you ruined it.
right. I was thinking,
hate you.
Nate, you and I need to go to the Southern Drive-In and go see Evil Dead Rise.
I have yet to be to that drive-in.
Let's go.
I don't know why. I've gone to the flea market that's there. It's terrible.
Oh yeah, you and me both. Yeah, it's not
awful.
terrible. It's a flea market.
The time I went was bad.
It's a flea market.
That's not about Tremors. We're back on Tremors.
I'm sorry.
So for me, like watching it again, the movie is so smart in setting up not only how people are going to die, but just like how this is going to play into the movie later. And I think it's so great, like especially that practical effect with the jackhammer when it hits a graboid and the way it takes off is amazing.
Yep. It's one of my favorite practical effects that it's very much, I mentioned it earlier, Jaws. It's that sort of thing. Tell, don't show. Where you broke through the concrete or the blacktop and you hit a graboid and it goes ouch and runs, and you get like how long was that, like a 50-foot?
I was gonna say at least 50 feet drag.
Right.
You know?
They drug
and
this
it goes
jackhammer
up a hill
and up. Oh man, it's so good. And that is for those fellas that were working that road. That has got to be the scariest thing that, well, in their very short lives, that they would ever have seen.
Yeah.
Because then they get chomped on. But that is such a fun and scary. I feel that is legitimately scary.
It's a scary off-camera kill.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then we get the aftermath, which makes that even more gruesome.
Yeah, just seeing like what's left over.
The brains laying in the hard hat, man. It's still one of those scenes.
That was a little silly. That was
a
little silly.
I like it.
I like it too. I just thought it was silly. I'm like,
now,
are the brains a little tart?
They were in the hard hat. The hard hat did its job.
But there's not a skull.
Yeah, it did. That's OSHA regulations were followed.
Do they eat the bones and not the brain?
Well, have you ever ate oysters? Come on, man.
Well, like what I love about like maybe the first 35, 40 minutes of this movie is setting up, like not revealing what these look like.
Sets it all up beautifully.
I mean, it's so great with having that farmer being taken. And like just
with the
his
sheep
head being there, you know, and I love, you know, Valentine's reaction to it, you know, just like, you know.
How would you react?
Yeah,
that's the
same thing. There's a psychopath on loose. There's a serial killer. He's taking everyone's heads.
Right.
Like
it's the perfect reaction for the average person, for any person for that matter. You like, hey, there's a hat on the ground. You pull up the hat. There's a face in the ground. Oh shit!
And it gives you this like great like, what the hell is eating these people? You know, like you don't know yet. You're going off the cover art and wondering like, is that what the monster looks like? You know?
Yeah.
That's what you're waiting for, is that reveal. And then like it to take it further by having that entire vehicle being sunk in. It's like, all right, this thing has to be massive. And that scene is so horrific because it's like the generator was taken, you know? And it's these two sweet old people.
Uh-huh. It's a sweet old doctor and his wife, and they're just homesteading. They want to set up a new life for themselves for whatever their story might be. And their lives are cut short. It's like, it hurts. It
Yeah,
hurts
they're
the
building
heart.
property out
But
there.
that's the beauty of a creature feature. These creatures don't care. They're just surviving and living and eating and screwing and making baby dinosaurs or baby
That's part 2.
baby
But
worms. Right, right.
but as far as like the filmmaking process of it goes, this is still a time where they were still conscious of trying not to ruin the surprise, like
Yep.
in marketing and stuff like that. Even so much that as this movie keeps going, we only see the tentacles for the longest time.
And that's what's great. Like that tentacle reveal around the axle
You
is
see
brilliant
that?
because it's just like, what the hell is this?
What
And
is
then
this?
then it's
Yeah.
the doctor kill where they're on the glass of the car with the lady in it. But they take it so far as when Valentine and Earl are like the horses get spooked and all of a sudden the ground starts raising and they make the comment of going, there must be a million of them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Then it pops up out of the ground for
Like,
this
oh shit,
dramatic,
there's only
like,
one of
yeah,
them.
that like it's one giant one and that comes out of its mouth. I love the progression of the reveal.
They think it's all these little bitty guys.
Yeah.
But it's one big asshole with a bunch of little bitty guys in his mouth. Yeah. It's
Yeah. So well,
And
and
that's
then
what
you
makes
know,
it even creepier because then, like,
Mhm.
those little guys taking down the horse, you know?
yeah.
Oh,
Oh, they
poor
had that
horse.
thing wrapped up.
Yeah.
I mean, it's pretty
Ugh.
impressive. They've never like really gone into like how long those damn things are, but that one was wrapped around the horse a couple times.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, but then we get the nice like where they kill it and it runs into the center wall.
Which is brilliant because it's smart, you know?
Yeah. Well, right now we don't know anything about them.
Well, I'm
So
saying, like, it's smart with the movie's decision of, like, you know, if the thing
we have
kills
to
itself
accidentally
because it
kill it.
doesn't realize what's ahead of it, kind
Right.
of thing.
But it's also a point where we need to now accidentally kill it so that our characters can now decipher
And
what
examine it.
they're up against. Because
Yes.
now they dig it out and go, you know, I found the ass end of it over here.
And
You
they realize
know,
it's like, what, 30 feet long or something
yeah,
like that?
you know, and then
Something like that. Yeah.
lays back into the comedy of, well, let's get it out of here. Well, we need a winch. No, a winch is going to mess it up. We need a crane. The blend of monster movie horror with the comedy of it's like
It's
a
a
buddy cop, but they're
brilliant
just
script.
buddies. Yeah, it's
Script is
why
brilliant.
this movie has held on, you know, held up so long. Is the script is tight, strong, period, and the
It's
effects.
a blast.
It's
Yeah.
so sad that it didn't do well in the theaters, but it is certainly
Honestly,
a cult classic.
what monster movie has actually done really well in theaters? If you really want to go back and look at it, you know, taking
You know,
away maybe some
outside
of the early
Godzilla and King Kong, you know?
the early Godzilla and King Kongs, but like true, just like monster movies.
They're almost always a flop, it seems like.
Right. I mean, the
But then they
closest
find
one,
Second Life on the video shelf.
yeah,
Mhm.
the closest
You're
version
not,
would
you
have
guys aren't
been
wrong. Yeah.
it would have been like The Abyss, but The Abyss technically isn't a monster movie.
It's
But I
not
never
really a
watched
monster
it
movie.
because of it being like, I don't find ocean movies appealing.
It's a sci-fi
That's why I never
drama.
watched Deep Star 6 because I'm like, it's an ocean movie. Like,
Yeah,
I don't
you're
know.
in for a treat.
I can't wait. I'm excited. But
Yeah.
like, like Virus, I remember just being like, I don't really like this.
Love that movie.
It's
Love
stuff
it.
like that. Just anything that takes place on the sea that's not Jaws, I'm not big on.
Oh man, Deep Rising, stuff like
Deep
that.
Blue Sea.
Oh, I love Deep
Back
Blue
on his
Sea.
Deep Blue Sea.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so it's just something about how well they staged this whole movie, like Nate was saying, where it's about the noise. Now we are hyper aware of how much noise we're making. Now we know what we're up against. And yet the movie can still kind of keep upping the ante because now these things are hunting them like a pack. You know, they start figuring out, well, if we can't reach them, bring them down to our level. So they
Yeah.
start undermining the foundation around the buildings they're hiding on.
I mean, they are even smart enough to dig a trap. Like Stumpy is the smartest
that
of them all.
trap
He is off for revenge.
I love that
Right,
whole
right.
thing.
You've got a little bit of Jaws 4 at the very end of this, where the worm is like,
Smart.
I'm gonna kill all you.
Well, it
civilization.
realizes like its other buddy eats the pipe bomb and blows up. So
Yeah.
then he decides to trick them by spitting it back out to
spitting
them.
it
Now,
back
I'm
out.
gonna say it's not like it knew the trajectory to shoot it and land in
It
the other
just-
bomb.
It just
No,
spit it
just
out.
got
That was
rid
just
of it,
pure
yeah.
luck and bad luck on their end. You know,
Exactly. But
Um,
to what, like Nate's saying, like they had to have a way of communicating. There was 4 of them.
Mhm.
So yeah, I'm sure there was some way it knew, well, that other one messed up.
Yep.
And, they were like
and on top of
baiting
that,
it. Yeah.
the two that are in perfection really start to go haywire after Bert and his wife Reba kill that one.
Yeah, they kill
the one
that
that
one.
attacks their house.
Okay.
Yeah,
They
so
get-
they
they get
kill
more
that
aggressive,
second
right?
one.
Yeah.
Then it's like, now they start to get more aggressive. So there's definitely some sort of form of
And
communication.
that one even comes in slower than the
interesting.
one
Yeah.
that died at the culvert, because Bert's in a
Yeah.
center block basement, concrete. It doesn't come in as fast as the other one did,
Yep.
so that it can break through
Without killing
the
itself.
center block without killing itself.
Now, I know it's part 2, but I have to point out because I love it
Go ahead.
so much.
Yeah.
But that because Bert survives this one, he has a taxidermy of the graboid head
Yep.
in the
In-
second movie
Oh,
in
I
his like
missed
living
that.
room.
Did he? Oh, that's
Yep.
fun.
It's one of my favorite gags because, like,
That's a good game.
yes, that is clearly what a survivalist would do. Like, yeah,
Mhm.
this is my hunt. I'm gonna taxidermy it and hang it in the front, the living room.
If I remember right, I think it's hanging exactly where it popped through.
I think so.
So
if I
it
remember
looks-
correctly.
Yeah.
It's almost as if
If it
it's
isn't,
still
I'm
there,
disappointed.
and he framed around it and kept the head exposed. Which makes more sense.
Makes sense.
Mhm.
This is also the movie that made me realize that elephant guns were real. You
Yeah.
know, like this was one
The
of
real
those,
thing,
like
yeah.
when you were playing in the backyard, like I got AK, I got a bazooka. The kid that popped out the elephant gun was like, oh shit, like he's got the elephant gun.
Well,
That's
we
top
watched
tier.
that was cartoon stuff. We were
Yeah.
used to. That's where we
Right.
heard about George of the Jungle and
Mhm.
all the Pink Panther movies. There was always his comments of like an elephant gun with a giant ass gun. Then you got to see Burt Gummer fire
And I love that he
unload.
doesn't even put it up to his shoulder because that would just dislocate it.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's the way he holds it underneath the shoulder.
The
He holds
movie
it
isn't
under-
Those giant
perfect
slugs.
because that is clearly the most imperfect thing in this whole
I love
movie.
that it's hidden behind glass.
Right.
It's
right.
definitely the break glass in case of emergency. It's that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I love, again, smart filmmaking. We're in the rec room and they're on the radio talking.
Mhm.
Reba's doing the bullets, cleaning brass to reload, which makes
Yep.
sense. Like they get that right. But there's one thing that they do so well, and that's when the graboid bursts in through the wall and they unload the guns they have,
Mhm.
they turn and the camera turns to reveal the wall of guns
yes.
that they don't show at all until that moment.
Yeah.
And then you're just
I
like,
adore
yes,
it.
let
Yes.
this happen. And like, it's great because Bert and Reba have perfect communication of like, I'm out, throw me
Oh,
a
they're-
mag. The
Yep.
way they're just grabbing off
They're
the
SEAL
wall.
Team 6, right?
Yeah, like it is
Exactly.
They just
so awesome to see them unloading. And then you get this mixture of puppet. You can see kind of like the overlay of Bert
Yep.
at one point.
Yeah, when he's in
But
front
then you're
of it.
getting the
yeah.
practical effects of when
It's
the
all-
bullets are hitting
forced
it.
perspective. It's wonderful.
Yeah. And like the bullets hitting it and the blood that's going out and everything, like it's so fantastic.
Mhm,
It's so
mhm.
believable.
It's fantastic.
If anything, it's what makes me so upset with the sequel of Reba not returning because they say that she left Bert. And it's like, I refuse to believe that because this movie establishes that those two are perfect
They're
for one another.
perfect for each other.
Like, that
I-
is a match made in
Either
heaven.
you couldn't afford her or she just wasn't interested.
Well, she
she
had
wa-
a big tour, is what it was.
She was on
Oh.
a big tour, and again, this movie didn't do good.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it
and
wasn't
she's
like
like,
something
"Eh,
that they
whatever."
could be like, yeah. I wish it would have been something like she had died and not
Mhm.
divorced.
Yeah, like it's a
Yeah.
small complaint. Once again, that's just part 2. But like for me, the two go really hand in hand. We could have done a double feature.
Oh,
honestly, and
We
I
could do
would have
a
been not against it.
Quadruple.
yeah, we
Oh,
should
this
just
is-
do all of them. No, I've watched part 2 as many times as I've watched part 1.
Yeah, when I grew up
yeah.
and got less scared of it, I watched it more.
It was when they finally, like, this one's funny but part 2 lays into the comedy even more.
And then 3
Also
does
has
even more.
one of the greatest intros of Burt Gummer in any of the movies. You know, with the earthquake, and he's in that deuce and a half with all of the weapons he got from the Mexican government. He's like,
Right.
you guys just asked for dynamite and a couple of rounds of bullets. He's got everything. What's that? Don't worry about that. Don't even worry about that.
Don't look at that. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
But yeah, we're not talking about part
Libertarian,
2.
Yeah.
But
like
no,
when those two didn't realize, all right, another one of us are dead, and now they start to attack the grocery store. Like, that's all intense. Like, you know, like everyone's just trying to
It's so intense. Yeah.
get up high, and like they're scrambling. You know, even Melvin's an idiot. But we watched what I think is that his dad who
I wanted to ask that. Is that Melvin's dad or not?
I
Because
think it's supposed to be his dad or uncle. It's definitely a guardian. Let's at least say that.
Okay.
because he never responds to Melvin at all. Like,
No,
there's
but
no interaction between
the
the
way
two of
Melvin
them.
reacts to his death is
Yeah.
definitely like that's a guardian of some sort.
You might be onto something with it's like an uncle or guardian or something.
But that
Even
guy just
though
gets
he's
on a tire.
He gets on a tire.
But like I believe
that's
it
such a
because it's
good-
like human
Oh, that's
fear
such a
coming
good
in
death.
and him just getting sucked in between the tire.
It was the worst the floor is lava ever.
Yeah.
You know, because it
Yes.
just sucked him through the tire. As much as I love that's a cool effect. Now we can really hide
Uh-huh.
where he disappears to.
It's the brilliance of the tell don't show.
Yeah, the cleverness of the special
Right.
effects department.
This is what Jaws did perfectly.
Yeah.
Tell don't show. This is like I'm getting sucked down, but we're not going to see the monster.
But like it adds like this is before all that happened, but like Rhonda getting her legs tied in between the barbed wire. And you
Oh, that
know,
was
and
so-
it's getting closer and
that's
closer.
butt puckery as it all gets.
Yeah, Valentine coming in to save the day, and it's like
Mhm.
getting
know,
her pants off to
I
roll
was-
away from it.
I was
Mm.
watching that, and you
Pants
know,
off.
if for a long time I always thought that's just a gratuitous type of thing to get the girl out of her pants. What I was actually
I was okay
watching
with
it
it.
going, I was actually like, no, this is like something that could
This actually
in an
would
emergency situation.
And they put pants on her immediately.
Immediately.
Yeah. There was she didn't run around in her panties.
and
Yes.
you're watching
Which is
Earl, who's
the
got
the
that
right way to do it.
he's got this look on his face, and for most people, they'd look at it going, well, he's leering at her. No, he's watching the interaction between Valentine and her, and that's why
He's
he has
watching
that
his
look.
kid brother, you know.
Exactly. So there's none of this like it was lewd or
It's
crude.
not malicious or anything
No.
like that. Yeah.
And you're right; they give her clothes immediately, and she's
Immediately.
back going.
Yeah.
So I don't find that this was, this is also one of those that there's never any like just a random boob shot. In
Right.
the thing.
We
I
get-
like how Kevin Bacon or is the character. He's like, before they meet Rhonda, he's like, she's going to be blonde, she's going to be tall, she's going to have big old
Boobs.
breasts
Big old
and
boobies, yeah.
legs that never stop. And then they show her with the sunscreen on her nose,
and
the
she's
big
just this
floppy hat.
college nerd apparently
Yes.
in
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
in the
She was-
seismology or whatever the hell you pronounce that.
Seismologist.
Earthquakes.
Yeah. Although in the trailer it goes, not even Richter scales can track it. I'm like, isn't that really how they're
That's-
tracking
it's
them?
That's
exactly
literally how
how
they
they're-
tracked it.
I was like, that
exactly
doesn't
how
make
they're
any
tracking it.
sense
Yeah.
whatsoever.
Trailer guy didn't watch the movie, you
No,
piece
yeah,
of
yeah.
shit.
Tra-
That's why the
trailer
movie
guy-
flopped.
Trailer guy read his lines. And he's like,
Yeah,
He
someone else
improv'd.
wrote it. Yeah.
Yeah,
so-
yeah.
No, we'll give that trailer guy a pass.
No, I'm
he
not.
read what was wrote.
You're not.
Oh,
You're a
but no.
dick.
And I like
It's a trailer
Every-
guy I am.
this is one of those to where like, okay, we're not probably ever going to run into, graboids or whatever, but everything they go through feels real to me. Like, how do we get out of here? Well, we're going to need a tank. Well, we don't have a tank. Yeah, but we got a bulldozer that we have
Yeah.
set up earlier in the
Yeah.
movie without this giant, like, in your face.
And that's the thing.
Foreshadow.
All movie, like with its foreshadowing, it's not in your face. It's
No.
subtle,
It's
and it's all plain to like everything has
Yes.
a payoff.
it's so good.
And even down to like they mentioned that Bert is the only one with a vehicle that can go up the Jeep trail,
Uh-huh.
and then the graboid destroys the Jeep. Like it's not in your face, like you said, Charlie. This is all really
The
well planned
script
out.
is really smart, and it's very well planned out.
And it's
it-
why
it
we can
folds
believe
back over itself, and allows
Yeah.
the story to continue. It,
Well,
gives, it gives the people a chance.
you have to have a chance. You have
Yes.
they got to be because they have moments of we're going to get out of here, then desperation. Then we're going to get out of here. Because even when they're on the tank, they think they're home free. But because of everything that's happened, now it's set up that we're totally like, we're shocked, but now we believe a graboid can set a trap. Now we believe it can dig the dirt and it stops them. Okay, now they got to run to a rock. There's no other rocks. They even say it. We can't pole vault our way out of here. So it's always this like, we're safe, now we're not safe. Now we're safe, now we're not safe. And it works so well to lead up to the next problem solving, which now it's like, okay, we have bombs. We can run away from them, but they're not going to kill them. Now what do? Now we go fishing. And you're just like, damn it, that's so brilliant.
God, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like they respond to movement. Throw it out there, drag it across. Boom. There we are.
They're smart enough to I don't
after the first one.
Right.
Yeah,
after the first one, they're like, which lends to this monster is way more smart than we initially
and they say that he goes, this one's smarter.
Yeah.
This one is not falling for
heart jump. It's not a dumb animal. It's a thinking creature. Oh,
it's a predator.
Got a purpose.
Yeah.
And like one of the things that
a predator has technology.
Yeah.
This thing is if you mean it's a
I mean, it's a predator, not that it's a predator. I mean, it's a predator.
Come on now, you're getting your predator mixed up with a predator.
We're
little
P. Are we in the action movie? No, we're in the horror
little
movie,
P, right? Not big P.
No, see, the problem is Pete's thinking about a predator, and Charlie's talking about a predator. That's the problem.
That's all.
The emphasis is on the syllable. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So,
one of the things that I also adore about this movie, it doesn't give us an origin story. It doesn't give us a reason.
Nope.
These things exist. And it adds to the mystery of where did they come from? Did something happen to wake them up?
I just want these things to be. Yes.
And it gives you a definite number of like, there's 4 of them. And it's based around the science of how, the seismograph is working.
Yeah. She can time out that they were at the same spot at the same time because they thought it was fast.
Logical science things going on here.
It's pseudoscience that works great.
Right.
Well, and what it does is it allows the characters to postulate where did they come from, because us as viewers are also going, well, how are they going to explain this? We don't realize we don't need that answer till we're done with the movie. But it allows the characters to do that for us. Of, well, just like Earl, I vote they're from space. And he rides that joke all the way through the second one, which is great. It's one of my favorites. And
it adds like a fun, making your imagination go wild of like, well, how long have these things been around? What else have they killed before?
Well, and they keep asking Rhonda because she's the only scientist.
When he's like, what do you think he's doing now? She's like, why are you asking me?
Right, and she's not a biologist.
We would all do the same
thing. She's
a
geologist. She's like I measure the way the Earth.
You have a degree, I don't. I'm asking you.
She is she is a learned woman and must know these answers.
She's got a PhD. It doesn't mean she knows how to set.
Nope, she clearly knows. All right,
no,
exactly.
That's how that works.
It's totally how it works.
How it works. That's how I've gotten by so far in life.
So any PhD should be able to
just answer anything.
A heart,
and
discover a new galaxy.
I don't think that's asking much.
I thought that's just how it worked.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Okay, all of my PhD friends, please get a hold of us at Give Me Back My Action Horror. What are we?
GMBMAMPOD@gmail.com.
Yeah.
I haven't done that one in a while.
Right. Well done, sir.
All right, Nate, we're at the end. Get us there, Bubba.
All right,
we're at the end.
So we've made it. They saved the day in a glorious fashion of outsmarting it and making that mother humper fly.
Yeah, fly, mother humper. It just dawned on me. Stampede. Love it.
Such a great ending. I love the explosion of the one because then you get them celebrating and then you get all the guts flying on them. And there's something about the colorization of the guts where you're like, that just looks smelly.
Very gross and orange.
Yeah. Red would have been way too much. Gore sometimes eventually gets boring in a movie. This was there was a point that it was the one that got blown up under the ground and the camera rolls across the back of it. There was like these little clear balloon things they blew up to look like a gland or something.
That so much.
And I'm just like, I want to be the guy that goes, this is missing something. What's it missing, guys? I have some rubber gloves. Let's blow them up. Throw
Is
them
Howie
in there.
Mandel on set?
Exactly. Oh, so good.
Hey,
But
kids,
yeah,
look up Howie Mandel on YouTube.
That's right.
And with a glove, yeah.
They know him from America's Got Talent or whatever that show is. So that's what they...
Deal or no deal.
Not-
I don't know.
not
Whatever
Bobby's
the hell
Place?
Mandel's up to these days.
I don't know. I don't keep up with Howie Mandel.
I
All right,
don't know.
boys.
I'm not Howie Mandel's personal agent.
You're not? Okay.
No. We've discussed this before.
Let's move on from Howie Mandel.
Yes.
okay.
This is not about Howie Mandel.
Please,
This is about Tremors.
please.
You know what? I think it's time we do the Raining Blood.
Let's do the raining goo.
Yeah, I like that. This is not lube.
It's not lube.
No. That was for another movie.
I just
It's
finished that today.
intestines. All right, the grand total for Tremors is 10 humans
10.
fight it.
Okay.
Yeah,
And
no, that
4
feels
That
graboids
sounds right.
fight
That sounds right. That feels right.
Yep.
Yep.
So
I was gonna say like 8 to 12, but 10.
well,
so-
it bumps up, even though it does happen off camera. We do get the payoff as those. There's an additional 2 guys that come in to check on the road crew, and all you see is the truck sitting there,
Oh, okay.
and the belt and the.
Oh, yeah,
telephone
that's
thing.
right.
I love that road crew. That was
Yeah.
Mhm.
So there's like 4 road crew people that are, and
Mhm.
poor what was the old man's name that died up on the power line, man? I felt
The
bad
guy
for
with
him.
dehydration.
Yeah.
I was like, man, that sucked. Who would be scared of a Winchester? It's because it's underground, guys. You just don't know.
You don't know.
All right,
that.
let's do the hard one now.
All right.
This isn't hard. It's easy.
What do you think? Zombie kill of the week?
Mhm.
Graboid kill of the week.
Yep.
Pete, what's your kill of the week?
Kill of the week is for me easily is the first graboid to run into the ditch or the culvert or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And it hits it with an ungodly amount of power and just oozes out of it. It's so gross.
The tentacle just flops.
Yeah.
And
It's
just the
so
colorization
gross.
of the blood.
Mhm.
Well,
and then they jump down into the culvert or the ditch and they start removing the bricks.
They move that
assume-
one big rock and the head just
yeah.
kind of
And
rolls
it's like,
out. Yeah.
and that thing is broken in every single place it could possibly be broken. Like the beak is still kind of because that beak I assume is an incredibly strong bone of some sort.
Right.
But since it was going at such a speed, it just squished
crushed like an
itself.
egg.
Yeah. It was. I loved all that, and it just dripped. I loved it so much. So that is my kill of the week.
Let's see. So I guess I'll go.
All right. So Charlie, now
Charlie,
you get
what's
to go.
up?
Yeah. I mean, if we were doing the graboid,
It's
death,
any kill.
It's any kill.
Any
I picked the
kill.
graboid.
So
I'm a little
here's
pissed off because I wanted to pick a graboid. I wanted to be like, aha! But I'm still picking a graboid.
So here's the one I'm gonna go with, but I'm gonna have like a small honorable mention.
Okay, all right.
Is
Give me.
I am going to pick the one that goes into the rec room and gets blown away by,
Reba
Bert.
and Bert.
Bert and his wife and the elephant gun, because it's just an awesome, especially
It
when
really
you're
is.
here. They think instantly that they're dead because they're on the roof, and then you hear those gunshots and the
Oh, it's so
echoing
good.
off the cannon.
You know they're
off
putting up
the
a
canyon.
fight.
Yeah, so it's like
That's
until
the,
you
That's the Quint death in Jaws, except Quint lives.
Right, yeah. This
Right.
would have been if Quentin had an elephant gun.
Yeah.
Jaws would have ended
Yes,
right then and
yes.
What a movie that would have been.
there. That would have been a totally different movie. But my honorable mention, and it's not so much of a kill, it's the aftermath, is the farmer when you lift his hat up and the head is just right there in the dirt. It's there's no blood, but it's still
It's
haunting.
so scary.
It is. Just and the expression on the face of pure terror and how they respond to that. And it's just I love that whole moment. That whole
Kevin
there's his
Bacon
hat.
Screams like a girl.
He sells it.
It's
He sells it
wonderful.
so
Yes.
well. And then they jump off and they run. It's awesome. But yeah, I'm gonna say that as an honorable mention, off camera kill, it's the farmer when he they find his head. But,
All right. Nate,
all right,
what's
Nate.
up, bud?
I'm right there with Charlie. Like it'd be a disservice to not make the kill be that graboid busting into Bert and Reba's home, because like it also shows how tough these things are because they are unloading on it, and it takes the elephant gun a couple shots from it.
Oh, easily,
It's the one that fought the most, if you think about it.
It really is.
Like it's the one that put up the most resistance because the other one's smart. It's dodging. One of them ate a bomb, it blew up. The other one ran into a wall. Like if I just describe how they all die, you're going to think I'm talking about a Looney Tunes cartoon.
Almost.
Well, this one,
You're not wrong.
Coyote,
Yeah.
he ran into the wall like the Coyote does. But then there's another one that had TNT like the Coyote does
from Acme.
Then this other one flies off a cliffside like the Coyote does. It's very. Till you watch the movie and go, well, this ain't Looney Tunes at all.
Yeah, not at all. But it's just, I love that interaction between them firing and just like the way they're going off. Plus, you get to see Reba do a dual wield,
She's
which is
dual
something
wielding.
you never would expect. And she does
got
look
skills.
very awkward doing it, but it's so damn funny. And
Yeah.
just the way she's holding a shotgun. It's just like, I love you, Reba. I love you so much. This is amazing.
100%. Absolutely. It
And
made me fall in love with her even more.
What this does great is, it utilizes Bert just enough to make you be like, man, I really love Bert. Like, I know he's not the main character. He's not Earl and Valentine, but you really latch on to this guy,
It's because of why we love him so much throughout the series and why he always came back.
And you know
no,
what?
No arguments. Right.
Yeah.
Honestly, kudos to him for never thinking that he was above this series, for always sticking around to it. And like,
hey, this stuff put food on his plate and a roof over his head.
You're damn right it did. He's like,
has never
I can make money off of this.
Movies.
Sign me on.
Right? No, yeah. This is a person that has really. It's it's very much reminiscent of, say, like Jeffrey Combs.
Oh yeah,
where
yeah.
He's never like above these characters that they got him playing. Like Reanimator, Bride of Reanimator, even to Frighteners.
He needs to eat, and he's gonna take these roles.
You're good at it, and the fans love you.
And he's
dig
got a
into
name.
it.
Right.
Yeah.
He's got enough of a name that people are gonna go see this movie.
And outside of this, he just goes back to doing one-offs on TV shows and stuff like that. But it's just one of those things that I absolutely adore, that he loves this movie. That he loves this franchise, and that he's never been one to talk shit about it or just like, I got to do another one because of a contract. Like,
nah, he's
gladly joins on.
I think this is it. This is a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to see that, like, this is my thing. I'm gonna do this. Right. I want very much to continue this franchise because it is kind of my bread and butter at this point in time in my life.
Once you get past that thought of being typecast,
yes,
you're totally fine. Because I'm gonna say, if I see Michael Gross in something else, I'm gonna be like, "Where's the graboid?"
Right,
exactly.
Right.
But
he knows that.
He's fine with that.
But
I
think he totally gets that, and he's like, "This is putting food on my plate," and I love that he understands that the fans want this from him instead of like, "Oh, well, I got to make sure that I am exercising my acting."
Especially after the TV show was such a failure. Because I even remember back then being like, this is not good. You know?
Whoa! Family Ties was a giant success.
Tremors, you fool.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I misunderstood where you were going.
No.
I'm so sorry.
The Tremors show, I remember being like, this
like
is
Family
not good.
Ties is is one of those you don't mess with that one. That's a beautiful, wonderful.
Maybe, I don't know. I've
sitcom.
never watched Family Ties. I know nothing about
But
that.
look,
It's 2023. There ain't no way in hell you're gonna get me to watch Family Ties. All right,
it's
not happening.
Fox. The hell, man!
I never watched it.
Don't be
it
a
wasn't
jerk.
part of the TGIF, lineup when I was a kid.
No, it was a Thursday. I think it was a Thursday movie.
It was no TV show.
TV
Thursday
show.
nights. Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, you guys are
right.
going nuts here. Before we did the thing, I had homework for you guys. Somehow
did.
this has turned into our new bit. But my homework for you guys was, as in this movie that they talk about, they get the honor of naming the graboids.
Yeah.
So
I
wanted to know, what would you guys had named the creatures?
Yeah.
Had you been given the
Graboid
choice?
is kind of a dumb name.
Oh,
But
I
so is
knew
like
right out the gate.
Skullwalker from
Skull Crusher.
Kong Skull Island had like Skullwalker or something.
Skull Crusher.
Skull Crusher. Thank you.
Yeah.
So
what
sorry.
would you name it, Drunk Pete?
Oh, me? Sand Dragon.
Sand Dragon. Okay.
Are there already sand dragons? I honestly don't
You're
know.
thinking of Crate Dragon from Star Wars.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what? I always do that.
Sand Dragon was my only like worm, worm.
And you can't say sandworm because that's either Dune or Beetlejuice.
Right. So right. It's like sandworm. No shit. Dragon. Sand Dragon. That was my that's my contribution.
Nate, what about you, Bubba?
Herberts. Yeah.
Oh, the
after Frank
Herberts?
Herbert,
yeah,
the guy that wrote Dune.
Yep.
It just
Herberts.
makes sense that you would call him Herberts.
I think that's wonderful.
That's a thinker right there.
That's a
It
thinker.
makes it fun, and also in this, world in 1990, those books do exist. They're well established at this point.
Yep.
I just feel like someone would be like, oh yeah, that's a Herbert.
Fair enough.
What was yours, Charlie?
Mine was dirt torpedoes.
I like that a lot.
That's kind of what they do.
Yep.
They're pretty fast under the dirt. You have to use seismologists to see it, so it's like radar pings.
Oh my God. I love
it. It's dirt torpedoes.
I love how the three of us came up with incredibly different things.
Yeah,
it's
definitely.
So much fun to have different brains doing different things. It's so much
fun. Right.
Well, now we gotta rate this bad boy. So
let's rate this thing. Yep, there we go.
Guys, it's okay. He just wanted his machete back. Woo!
All right.
Well,
Nate, you're supposed to be leading. I don't know why I'm leading.
All right, Pete, go first. What are you rating this bad boy? How many machetes?
10.
That was easy.
10. This movie hits every possible point in my love for cinema. I love this movie. It has flaws. I don't give a shit. 10.
All right.
Done.
Short and sweet
Done.
for Pete. What about you, Charlie?
It's a 10. This is this is the gold standard for monster movies.
Yes, it is.
If you take out, and I'm not talking Godzilla monster
No,
movies,
no.
I'm talking like creature
feature. Yes.
Monster movies that they're just basic instinct, eat whatever's in front of them. Tremors is the gold standard.
Agreed.
And it's not the first, but it's the one that did it the best. And like Pete goes, it's not mired by bad CGI. It is done by some of the top in the industry for practical effects, and it still holds up to this day. It's 2023. We just got a new Tremors movie 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Wasn't that long ago that the last Tremors Island came out, which was so far the final one.
Yeah.
It was so it has staying power without going the route of, say, like the Amityville movies, where it's just throw the name on it. These have actually kept a storyline, thankfully to Michael Gross, but they've always had this through line to them, and I adore it. And there's not much else. If anyone had anything bad to say about these movies, they're just not fans of this genre or anything like that.
I feel bad for people that don't like this movie. I just like,
aside from my mom who thinks it's really gross.
That's fair. That's fair.
Nate?
Nate, you picked it.
It's a 10. Like,
yes,
yes. Come on, guys. Like,
3
when I think of this movie,
3 10s. Oh my goodness gracious!
I think of my childhood, and that alone makes me so damn happy. But it holds up so well. You know, this isn't just nostalgia. Like, this is a good movie. It's fun.
In every way, shape, and form, this is a good movie.
Yes.
Yep. This was
something.
Yeah, this was one of those that when Anthony got into him, I was super excited. Like, I usually introduce him to action movies and stuff, but when he got and finished watching Tremors, he goes, "Is there more?" And I was like,
"Oh, I like Anthony a lot."
And it was right about that time that the latest one had come out, so we only had up to part 6 or 7, whichever it is, and he didn't know. I went out and bought the newest one for him so that we could watch it. So yeah, he thought he was done, and then a whole new one came out for him, and so it was a blast reliving these movies.
I'm gonna have to watch them. I am.
You need to. There's a lot of stuff that Pete and I are not saying because I don't really want to ruin it for you.
I'm not saying
not all of us are good.
This doesn't need to be remade, but it would be great to get Kevin Bacon back into the saddle.
This movie does not need to be remade.
Like,
I would just like one.
Imagine it. That's fine.
Or you could do like what 2018 Halloween did and ignore.
I don't
through
think
whatever.
I think it would be cheaper to do it CG, and this is not the franchise that needs to be CG.
And well, that's the other thing. Like with how expensive miniatures and puppeteering is nowadays, like I could see like where it's like, well, this would be an expensive movie to remake now. Now, I'm not saying it's completely out of the possibility. We're gonna get that Toxic Avenger one here soon. That is mind blowing. That's happening, you know.
Yep.
And that's being backed by a studio. And
what?
Uncle Lloyd at least is somewhat involved. Like, it's very interesting. And Kevin Bacon's going to be in it.
Yeah.
In the new Toxic
yeah.
Yep. So
right, I might watch it then.
Well, speaking of Kevin Bacon, Nate, you have a trash review that someone almost spoiled that for us early on in the episode. So you ready?
Who is that?
Close.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring. And then I start eating garbage. And then I pick up the trash can and I smash the guy on the head.
Oh, that's going to be a disaster.
All right. This comes from Kevin Bacon himself. The worst thing I ever did.
Just hold on, Pete.
Yep.
Okay.
Just hold on, Pete.
Pete just got ate by a graboid.
Oh my God. It still got a hold of him. What do we do? He feared that his career was over and then the following years would refuse to acknowledge the film's existence. Eventually, he would come around to it, later admitting that when he was making Tremors, I was very depressed and at a low point in my life, and I kind of blamed Tremors for all that. I was bitter against it. I thought it was a career killer. I never watched my movies more than once. Some of my movies I have never seen before and have no desire to. But I've watched Tremors a dozen times. I love it so much, and I've spent years trying to capture the same energy we had on that set of Tremors. It's one of my favorite films of all time. So it's got a happy ending that usually doesn't happen with our trash opinions.
But I mean, it's a nice little glimpse of how maybe at the time they just despised doing it. And then to look back and go, damn it, man, I was unfair to it. You know, we had fun doing it. I made
like
good
what we
friendships
talked about
doing
on
it.
our Hackers episode of like not having Angelina Jolie be part of the interviews. You know,
right?
Because maybe they look back on it in bitterness or something. We don't know the story, but it could be the same thing with Kevin Bacon. Like, oh, that's why you never get to see him talk about. But it's like, no, he's embraced it. He's loved it now. It's just
I feel like
it took him some time.
He's made a lot of strides lately in looking
He
back
used
at
to,
his
you
choices.
know, if I remember correctly, like hate his role in Friday the 13th.
Oh yeah.
And now is recently like, no, it's great. I was in that. I
Yeah.
think the same thing with Animal House. Like it strikes me that he's a perfectionist and that he probably is just like,
that's
oh, you
interesting.
know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
I could have done better at this,
But
and that's why he dislikes it.
they all had to start somewhere.
Yeah.
So I think he's come to the realization that we're not making fun of him for those things.
No. I love him.
We
in this movie.
understand that's how you cut your teeth in the industry. There's, look at what like Tom Hanks has done, with Bachelor Party, and that
I
Maze of
wish
the
he would do
Monsters.
another solid, crazy comedy.
But I mean, like Bachelor Party for me, when I finally got around to watching that, realizing that it was basically a sex romp titty movie.
Oh yeah, it's
that
titty
Tom
movie.
Hanks
Yep.
was in, and you're just like, really, Tom Hanks? But everyone got started somewhere, and speaking of Angelina Jolie, we talked about it. She did Cyborg 2. It's just this
with boobs.
I'm
Probably.
not gonna get your hopes up, Pete.
Yeah,
Stop
you
it.
know what?
Yeah.
All right. Because I didn't get any boobs in.
You got some.
You did get some.
We got some.
Yeah,
Just
you got
some.
some.
No, you got some.
No, you
I
got
got
some.
barely a
No,
nip slip.
It was there.
That was more than
All
most.
right.
That's right. You're totally fine. Just watch that, then watch Tomb Raider, and it kind of equals itself out. So you're fine. All right. She gets out of the shower in that scene. All right.
We're done. We did it. We
All
covered it.
everything's covered. It's
Boom.
fi-
Tremors.
And it's not a 2-hour episode because you maniacs. All right, guys. Well, that pretty much wraps it up for us now.
Yes.
This is the beginning of our creature feature month. Only on the horror side, we're having some fun on the action side, doing more of a kind of a dabble into post-apocalyptic movies. So not quite Mad Max, but Mad Max adjacent. So those are also going to be fun. But for the horror side, be looking forward to my first monster movie, which is Deep Star 6, which Nate has not seen.
Really looking forward to that.
I can't wait for
I'm
his
excited.
reaction on that. I have the Blu-ray. I am so ready for it. And then we round out the month with a movie that neither Nate and I have seen, and not sure if Pete's seen, but it's called Stung. And it stars Lance Hendrickson, which already had us excited.
I've seen most of it. I'll have to watch it again. Clearly,
I feel like there was a drunk Pete that watched it, and now his memory
there's
gone.
a lot of
it's also drunk Pete trying to remember it too. So
yeah, he did think that it was like May. It's April.
Yeah,
but he thought it was May. Like
what month is this? I don't even know.
We don't even know. We record early, so honestly, I couldn't tell
we
you when
give
this
you
come
shit because we love you, Pete.
That's it.
But I am going to get your brain matter checked out because I'm starting to get worried.
Not a bad idea.
Starting to look at retirement homes that allow beer. All right, everybody. And if you want to follow along with us on the outside of the podcast, please come over and check us out at Give Me Back My Horror Movies, the Facebook group. Give Me Back My Action Movies, the Facebook group. Both of us are on Instagram under those titles. We are also on TikTok, Twitter, and YouTube. So if you get the chance, I know Nate's already kind of dropped it early on in the episode, but we have our new series, the Tubi Files. Once a month, we pick a random movie off of Tubi that hopefully none of us have seen, and we review it. It may not be good enough to for the podcast, so we just did Cyborg Cop, which I'm now regretting we didn't do it on the podcast.
I'm regretting we did it.
Amazing.
Pete was been like, I could have opted out of that one. I can't opt out of Tubi Files. So it was great.
Oh, wait till my next selection.
That's right. Yep. So make sure
is this a challenge?
Oh yeah, it's always been a challenge. The one that I'm going to win. I'm a very competitive human.
Okay.
There's
Here
so
it
much on
comes.
the line. It's you have to pick one you haven't seen, so you can't.
Yeah, that's true. Yep.
You can't have
So you don't even
any
know.
It's coming. It's a coming.
That's right. All right. But yeah, so you can go check us out over there. And as always, thank you for listening. Make sure you subscribe to us, rate us on all the podcast apps. 5 stars, please, if we deserve it. Even if we don't.
It's been great seeing the map light up. Thank you, everyone that just keeps listening and spreading the word. Keep spreading the word. And, if you like something or you dislike something, let us know because,
Nate wants you to keep spreading it.
That's right. Just treat us like your favorite STD and spread it to the world.
Well, all right, guys. Like, maybe not like quite like not on Tremors.
All right, Nate, why don't you get us out of here with a good word?
Can you fly, sucker? Can you fly?
I don't think he said sucker.
Now,
He did.
let's talk about how I get back home.
PG-13, right?
They were called Shriekers in part 2.
Oh,
Shriekers.
That's right,
Yep.
because they let out
Shriekers.
Mhm.
they could go off of the heat that they put out by yelling.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I remember now.
speaking of sequels, I am going to go watch The Howling 2 now. That way I can talk to Steven again.
You are
right.
you are riding in the high country.
Yeah,
Howling
I'm
2
gonna go
is
watch that because right now, in order to talk
Oh.
to Steven, I have to relay all my messages to Charlie to talk to
I
him.
know. No,
We're
I've
on
been
a no
seeing that.
speaking terms.
I didn't
right
understand how that started, but it doesn't matter.
now. We're
I
upset with one
understand.
another. It's been a big thing.
Clearly, yeah.
You
Like,
know.
you can tell him this and that.
Hey, everybody. Charlie here. So Nate's mom called back right as we finished recording the Tremors episode. So you're about to hear that phone call. And for a little context, I'm still on the video chat with him during this phone call on the recording, and I'm dying in the background laughing. So Nate is trying to keep his composure as he talks to his mom. And this is as pure and unedited as I can give it to you guys. So buckle up.
Hey, what's up? You're at work? I figured you would be. Hey, do you remember like all those times I watched Tremors as a kid? Yeah, what was your thoughts on Tremors?
Scary. I didn't want nothing like that coming after me. Why?
I was just wondering. That's all. I was watching Tremors and just curious what you were thinking about it.
I tried to call you the other day. You got a death.
Oh, I don't want to talk about a death on the phone right now.
Yeah, well, you're going to get one.
Well, who died? Yeah, I saw that. Okay. Yep, that was not good. Yep, I did. Yeah, it was sad. Yep, I saw that on Facebook. So, yep. See, I was trying to call you about Tremors, and then you go and bring up a death.
Hey, I'm at work, mister. I'm having a day from hell, but I did get zeros at the other night, so that's what matters for Kelly.
Well, that's good, but like, you made me watch Tremors. You let me watch Tremors a bunch as a kid. I was just curious about that.
Yeah, well, you didn't seem to be scared for much.
Yeah, I was just wondering why we didn't buy the VHS at that point with how much we rented it from that place in South Charleston.
VHS, because I don't like scary shit.
Well, I realized that.
I don't like scary shit.
But, you knew that I did. I mean, we rented that and Darkman a bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Did you reach out to your Nana? Her birthday was on the 15th.
I will reach out to Nana. I promise that.
You forgot about her?
No, it was on the same day that the Titanic sank. That's how I remember. So
Well, you gotta take care of that.
I will call Nana right after this.
All right.
Okay.
Love you.
I love
hey,
you.
I'm off tomorrow. I'll call you.
Okay, that sounds good.
All right.
Bye.
Love you.
That went exactly how I figured it would. She's always got to tell me about death. So we'll cut that part out.
No. I ain't cutting shit out of that whole thing. Hey, Charlie again. His Nana's birthday's the same day as the Titanic sinking, but I did not take it that way when he said those words, and I was literally on the floor dying when I heard him reference the Titanic and his Nana's birthday. I took it as she was a survivor. So, hope y'all enjoyed that little phone call. We'll see y'all next week.